Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the retirement of a literal icon, English football's ultimate enduring warrior, James Milner. After an absolutely staggering career, the Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder has finally hung up his boots. But, it's not just the fact that he's retiring, it's the sheer, unprecedented scale of what he's achieved that we really need to unpack today.
Okay, let's dive into this. 658. That is the jaw-dropping number of Premier League appearances James Milner has officially clocked up. With this final season at Brighton, he hasn't just called it a day, he has absolutely cemented his status as the new Iron Man of English football. He claims the all-time appearance record in the top flight. Just let that number sink in for a second. 658 matches in what is arguably the most physically demanding, relentless league in the entire world. It's just wild.
So how on earth do you build a remarkable 24-year journey like that? Let's take a look.
This journey actually spans multiple completely distinct eras of the modern game. It all kicked off way back in 2002 when he made his debut for Leeds United as a 16-year-old prodigy. I mean, think about that. In 2002, some current Premier League players literally weren't even born yet. From there, his path wound through Newcastle and Aston Villa before hitting a massive peak at Manchester City, where he secured a Premier League title. Then came the defining chapter, Liverpool. Under Jurgen Klopp, Milner was crucial. He won the Champions League in 2019, the Europa League, the FA Cup, and helped end the club's agonizing 30-year wait for a Premier League title in 2020. Finally, he brought all that vast experience to Brighton until his retirement in 2026. And the crazy thing? Throughout this whole timeline, his immense adaptability was his superpower, seamlessly playing as a wide midfielder, a central midfielder, and even stepping in at fullback whenever he was called upon.
But to really grasp the magnitude of this, we need to contextualize those 658 matches. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly who he had to surpass to get there. James Milner sits at the absolute summit. He edged past the previous record holder, Gareth Barry, who held incredibly strong at 653, and right below them, absolute titans of the game, Ryan Giggs at 632. Frank Lampard at 609. These are some of the most prominent, legendary figures in the entire history of the Premier League era. The fact that Milner stands above all of them really underscores an extraordinary level of consistency, maintained across more than 2 decades of top-level competition.
So the crucial point is how this record was actually accumulated. Because look, there's a massive difference between just padding your stats and what Milner actually did. He wasn't some peripheral squad figure just quietly accumulating minutes at struggling sides, trying to dodge relegation. No way. For the vast majority of his career, he was a starting or key rotation player at clubs actively competing for major honors, winning league titles, lifting European trophies. He was right there, in the thick of the highest pressure matches in club football year after year.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. What is the secret to this extreme longevity?
Well, to sustain the physical and mental demands of top-flight English football across 24 years, pure talent just isn't going to cut it. It requires 3 core pillars. First up, physical conditioning. His commitment to physical maintenance is basically the stuff of legend at this point. He famously avoided alcohol for his entire career, a strict discipline that let him perform at peak levels well into his late 30s. Very few players in any era have ever managed that. Second, tactical discipline. His willingness to evolve his role and adapt as his body naturally changed over the years made him an invaluable asset to literally every single manager he played for. And third, a team-first mentality. He did whatever the squad needed, whenever they needed it, completely checking his ego at the door. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the human element behind the longevity, because the statistics only tell half the story. Milner was a massive dressing room leader. He was the kind of player whose personal standards and work ethic literally set the tone for everyone else in the building. Jurgen Klopp actually publicly praised his professionalism on multiple occasions, crediting Milner as a key influence in the whole culture that underpinned Liverpool's trophy-winning era. So he wasn't just maintaining his own high level, he was actively elevating everyone around him.
Oh, and of course, this relentless professionalism didn't just stay at the club level. Milner also earned 61 caps for the England national team. He repped his country across multiple major international tournament cycles, proving that his legendary reliability translated perfectly to the international stage too.
All of which leaves us asking, what comes next? When a player with this much experience steps off the pitch for the final time, where do they go? Now, while he hasn't publicly confirmed his post-playing plans just yet, the possibilities are incredibly exciting. Whether it's coaching, punditry, or club administration, any of these would be a totally natural progression. I mean, when you consider the elite knowledge he's gathered from 6 different clubs and multiple title-winning campaigns, he's essentially absorbed the tactical and cultural blueprints of some of the best managers in the world.
Whatever field he chooses, his background makes him primed to be a hugely influential figure off the pitch.
Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to wrap up today's explainer. Will another player ever sustain a 24-year career to break James Milner's 658-match record? When you think about the increasing physical demands of the modern game, the speed, the pressing, the sheer volume of matches calendar year after calendar year, it makes a career spanning more than 2 decades at the absolute top level seem almost impossible to replicate. Milner's record is built on a super rare combination of consistency, dedication, and just an unrelenting professional standard. It might just stand for a very, very long time. What do you think? Will we ever see an Ironman like this again? Let that sink in, and thank you so much for joining us to unpack the legendary career of James Milner.